Man, that weather's awful. How are you? It's too hot?
Yeah.
Look at the weather in Osaka.
Oh, it is dirty.
Oh my god.
Oh, we don't have it.
Yeah, there's thunder too. Look at this rain. Can you see the rain? Yeah. It's just rain, rain, rain. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can do it.
Okay.
So I feel a little sad because one of my students who came from Iran, she lived in Tehran.
Yes.
Yes, she the PO.
Yes.
Stayed in Japan for a week.
Oh, only 1 week.
Year, 1 year
Okay.
for a year, and she was a very excellent. And
So where is she now?
and she has evacuated.
I'm sorry?
She has evacuated from Tehran.
I thought she was in Japan.
No. She lived in.
Oh, she was in Japan for 1 year,
Yes.
but then she went back to
Yes,
Iran. But
yeah.
then if she evacuated, that's good news.
Yes.
If she was not able to evacuate, that would be bad news.
Yeah. But she could evacuate from Tehran because her parents.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
Parents live in other countries far from Tehran. So
Yeah.
She could evacuate.
Why didn't she stay in Japan?
I don't know why, but she checked some articles related to the anthropology and found my name.
Oh.
And she decided to come to Japan.
Oh, okay. But just for 1 year of study.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No. It's not a good place for you to learn because nobody can speak English, and she can't speak Japanese at all.
She couldn't?
Yes, she couldn't.
Yeah, okay.
And she tried to study Japanese.
Good luck with that.
But she gave up.
Of course.
It is so difficult for her.
No, I tell people, I could go to nursing school. In 3 years, I would learn everything I need, IVs, making beds, all of that stuff. But I couldn't pass. After 30 years in Japan, I couldn't pass the test.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
So she tried to study English, but she gave up.
Her English was difficult also.
Yeah.
But she stayed 1 year, which is actually, I guess she learned a lot, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
We went to Osaka and Hokkaido and Fukuoka, and she stayed in Osaka for 2 or 3 weeks to learn how to make an orthopedic prosthetic in
Interesting.
Kawamura Gishi company.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And she was a very good student, so I always anxious about her. Yeah.
Well, I one thing I need to say. If North Korea never had a nuclear weapon, they may have rejoined with South Korea, similar to Germany, East and West Germany. But when they got their nuclear weapon, that's it. They're done. They're North Korea. and I don't see any change. And those people really suffer. The people in that country really suffer. It's the same with Iran. If Iran got a nuclear weapon, that would be it. You can't change them. They become a totalitarian state, like North Korea. Their people suffer, and there's no way to change. No way to change them. The people can't. They have no choice but to follow their government, their radical government. So it had to happen. Sorry. I guess we learned our lesson from North Korea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she always says most people in Iran don't accept the leader of Iran.
But how do they fight back? They don't have any guns.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, America gets a lot of criticism because we have guns, and then there's gun violence, but it's a free. I don't like to call it a free country. I like it to call it an expensive country, but at least we have the ability to fight back. If we don't like our government, we can fight back. Those people have no choice. But I think Israel did a lot of the dirty work. They did the hard job. The hard job was what we call the boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. Americans were flying in their fancy stealth jets, when we attacked. Israel had spies, right? Israel had soldiers, right? Destroying the missile launchers and marking the targets and tracking the military leaders and risking their physical lives on the ground, boots on the ground. But America, after Israel, about 1 week, Israel did the dirtiest work. And then they took casualties because Iran was fighting back, was shooting missiles back. And people in Israel were dying. And Israel is not just Jewish people. Israel is Christian people and Muslim people and Jewish people and other people, right, with no religion, whatever. But so Israel did the dirty work for about 1 week. But America has the technology. See, they buried these nuclear sites inside a mountain. And only America had the kind of bombs that it took to get rid of those. Can you imagine if Israel or some other country had to use a nuclear weapon to stop that? Right? They have, and this was the debate. This was what was going on back in the 80s, back in the Cold War. We were so worried that Russia was going to roll into Germany and take the whole Germany or take other parts of Europe, and we couldn't stop them. And so we developed these small nuclear weapons, right? I mean, a small nuclear weapon, that's the really scary thing. Imagine if small nuclear weapons had to be used in Iran because they didn't. But we have this pretty amazing technology. We have the ability to drop one bomb. It buries like 200 meters before it explodes. And the other bomb can follow the path of the first bomb. And the bombers that fly in there are almost invisible to radar. They have about the same radar signature as a bird, right? So the radar operators, they can't tell the difference between one of these bombers and a bird, right? So, of course, like I say, Israel did most of the dirty work first. So I hope she's okay. I hope her family's okay. I hope they got out of the city. I think a lot of Iranian people are just leaving the country.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if we have this term, it's called regime change. Have you heard this term? Regime change. The regime is the reigning political establishment. If the regime falls and or changes so that the people get a democracy, then they can move back. Right? Think of all the people that have left North Korea. Right? And they would never go back unless the regime changes. But North Korea, that's near impossible because they have nuclear weapons. You wrote something. You wrote about Stockholm, right?
Yeah.
Shall I check it for you? I'm sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Okay.
Pages.
Oh.
This is the page one, and I have page two.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have fixed my problem. I'm so sorry about last week.
No problem.
Well, it was a problem for me. I was jumping back and forth trying to get it done, but this is working now. So things are good. Stockholm, what is the country name?
Sweden.
Yeah. I remembered my memory.
I don't remember.
Popular culture.
Mhm.
Yeah, I make this constantly. Make this. Japan's popular culture is too good. It really is. It's too high quality. If Japan had low quality popular culture, people would be watching American TV, right? Yeah. 30 years, no change.
Yeah, nothing.
Did you watch that Dark Forest?
Yes, I watched it, but it is very difficult to
Pretty
understand.
difficult, but I think you could understand their statistical model, right? They gave a statistical model. When I see these, I think about you because you're the statistician.
Not I'm a statistician. I'm not a statistician.
Well, you're a better statistician than I am.
It's too difficult for me to understand.
Well, there was some entertainment value, I think.
Yes. After that, I watched the Japanese version.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't watch it, but it came, and so I watched it in Japanese, but I cannot understand.
Oh, even in Japanese, it was difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's my topic. That's my
Yeah.
arena. Okay, did you receive this page? I imagine you did.
Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah, popular culture. The Japanese popular culture is just too good. So that's why in our house we no Japanese TV at all.
No, it is
None.
Huh?
Nope.
Mm.
Zero. It's either YouTube or Netflix. Yep. Sometimes we watch a Ghibli or something like Totoro or something. Anpanman. My daughter likes Oshiri Tante.
Yes, I know. It is very popular.
It's funny. Yeah.
Children. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah. Silent. Yeah.
Did you know that the silence was there, or didn't know?
I know. I knew it. I knew it. But I couldn't understand. At
Okay,
all.
so you knew that there was no audio, but you didn't know why.
No, I didn't know. So
Okay. So
I was,
I'm sorry, Sumiko.
so
So
I
you're
was,
you're giving your presentation,
Yeah.
and there's no audio.
Yeah.
Did you know that there was no audio, or
there.
were you talking for 5 minutes without knowing nobody could hear you?
Yeah, I didn't talk. I didn't talk at all. And
Oh, you
I
were waiting for the problem to
Just-
be fixed?
just waiting.
Yeah, okay.
And I was afraid if Hiroshi asked me to say something, but I couldn't hear his voice. So
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, last night I was listening to the American press conference by the Secretary of State and the General of the Air Force.
Yeah.
And the audio for the first, it was only about 30 seconds. The audio was completely terrible. It was like Fox News or something, and I'm like, what's going on? Finally, they switched over to the good audio and they caught the problem. But I'm like, we can send these high-tech bombs all the way across the world, but we can't have a decent audio for the press conference. They fixed it. They got it right. But the first 30 seconds were terrible. Somebody said something.
So maybe many people around the world watched it.
Yeah, but that's first 30 seconds audio. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Too bad you couldn't be there. Couldn't have been there.
Yeah.
We have, I'm pretty sure it's Shakespeare. We have an idiom for this. Yep. All's well that ends well.
We have the similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Shakespeare.
No.
Did you receive it? I imagine you did. I don't have my phone here to
Yes,
check.
I got it.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Stockholm.
Yeah. Stockholm. Yeah. Stockholm. Last week, the International Conference of Prosthetics and Orthotics was held in Sweden. Stockholm, Sweden.
Mm.
From Sweden. Yeah. Hiroshi and Soji attended, and I prepared my own video presentation. My memories of Stockholm are more than 20 years.
20 years old.
20 years
Your
old.
memories are more than 20 years old.
20 years old. I went there with my university colleagues. When I arrived at that hotel, I noticed that my watch stopped with some dead battery.
Wow.
So I worked down by myself and find a small repair shop. I was afraid I couldn't communicate in English, but it was an unnecessary worry. At the old woman there spoke fluent English. I was so surprised.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. The next day, we visited the research institute of Karolinska University. Some members showed us around, and I found everyone except one old craftsman spoke English.
Yeah, I guess that old man had his face in a watch or something, right? All day, every day. Yeah. But that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years.
I imagine it's hard to find anyone that doesn't speak English now. Did you know one of the most popular songwriters is from Sweden?
Yeah.
I think his name is Max Martin.
Max Martin.
He writes hit songs. He's got hit songs with multiple different bands, and he's from Sweden. Of course, do you remember the group ABBA?
I know.
Some of the most popular music in history was by a Swedish band, right? So, yeah, they don't have problems with English like other countries do. Yeah.
They quit their.
Well, that was a long time ago. That was back in the 70s, but
they came again recently.
Oh, maybe they made a comeback, but they're not as popular as this Max Martin guy. He's amazing.
So actually, I didn't hear any conversations in Swedish. I asked them why they could speak English so well. They said half of the television programs are in English, and we watch them every day. And all university classes in European countries are held in English. I realized the large difference between Europe and Japan, and unfortunately, the situation has not changed.
Yeah, I was a substitute teacher last week, and I was teaching elementary school children. And I started teaching elementary school children 30 years ago. Their deficiencies, their needs have not changed in 30 years. There has been no improvement. They have the same issues, the same problems. Nothing has, I mean, my students have improved, but the same problems exist. It's endemic. It's an endemic situation here. It's a nationwide, deeply entrenched problem. Yeah.
So I talked with my family and my son's family last night, and one grandson, he is 13 years old. He is a first year student in junior high school. He started to study English, and he said that I don't like English.
Because the way it's being taught is so terrible. Think about the teacher. The teachers teaching those English classes, they can't speak English. So they're struggling. And the teacher is in pain. And if the teacher's in pain, the students are not going to enjoy it. So there's your problem. But now when you get the native teacher in the classroom, they have fun. Yeah, it's endemic.
My son recommended him to go abroad when he was young.
Yeah.
Year or next year, but he said no.
Yeah.
So my sons have experiences to go to European countries and the United States when he was in junior high school and universities. So he said that it was a very good experience for him. So he recommended.
But back then, the yen was strong,
Yeah.
and it was cheap for Japanese to study abroad. But now it's so difficult. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions about this page?
Repair shop. It is not.
Well, the thing is, you already said watch, right? We know it's not a shoe shop, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a problem with your watch. So yeah.
Repair shop.
Yeah. I imagine Sweden has a lot of nice watch shops, right?
Yeah. So, but it was very small shop in downtown. So yeah. So I was so surprised to meet old women. Yeah. Who spoke English.
But let me tell you something about the Scandinavian languages. They're not so different than English. Yeah. The Scandinavian, Norway and Sweden, it's actually the roots of English come from those countries. So yeah, they have the easiest time studying. Japanese may be one of the hardest to study English.
Large difference between
Japanese, Chinese, Russian, they have different alphabets, and it's going to be difficult. Things are going to be hard. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, let's move on then.
So in the last week in the ISPO conference, we talked about ankle foot orthosis A4 and the knee ankle foot orthosis KA4.
Let's change that. We talked about ankle foot orthoses and knee ankle orthoses. Let's use the plural forms. Yeah.
Orthoses and knee ankle foot.
No, not Let's use the plural.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The heroes and soldiers attended and I watched online. So in our session, plan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We plan.
No. Our session plan included.
Our session plan.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I work really fast the first run, and I always have about a 3% error. Our session plan included 3 parts.
Our session planned.
Our session plan included 3 parts.
Our session plan included 3 parts. Yes. So first, I would give my presentation on the effect of A4 and K4 use from the viewpoint research. Next, Soch will give his presentation from the clinician's viewpoint. Plus, Soch will demonstrate the actual gait training for patients with severe paralysis using K4. At the beginning of the session, he was gave opening remarks. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear his voice clearly, but he was confident and looked like a person who had a lot of experience of being a moderator.
Experience being a moderator.
Experience being.
Yeah, please strike of.
Yeah.
Experience being a moderator.
It was a good start, but a serious problem happened. The audio system did not work, and my presentation was shown without audio. The silence continued for 3 to 5 minutes.
One moment. Okay, so the audio system did not work, and my presentation was shown without my voice.
My presentation was shown without my voice. Yeah,
thank you. I don't want to use the word audio twice, and I couldn't understand actually. You said without voice. I'm like, well, whose voice? you can't hear them, they can't hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
The silence.
Coffee or tea? Yes. Not an answer. Sorry.
Mm. The silence.
No. Sumiko.
Huh?
So you say voice, but whose voice? I don't know if it's your voice or their voice. I don't know if you can't hear them or they can't hear you.
Mm.
So what was this problem?
It's what my voice. My voice.
Yeah, okay, so they couldn't hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so the presentation was shown without your voice.
Mm. Yeah. So.
Okay.
And I could not understand. It was good start, but the serious problem happened. The audio system didn't work, and my presentation was shown without my voice.
Good.
Yeah, without my voice. Yes. The silence continued for 3 to 5 minutes, and I couldn't understand what happened.
Huh.
It was the first session after the opening ceremony, and the technicians had not checked the audio system.
Hmm.
So Hiroshi decided to change the order, and Soji went first. During his presentation, the problem was solved, and I went next.
Hmm.
There were many participants, and most of them were interested in the K training using the KFO. After the session, Sergeant Hiroshi was surrounded by many people. All well that ends well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Questions.
Yeah. So I did know that Hiroshi went first and I went next. So I didn't know this expression.
Well, Hiroshi was the moderator.
Yeah.
He's like member 0, right?
Yeah.
So you just switched orders.
Yeah.
You could say Soji went ahead of me, but Hiroshi wasn't really presenting. He was the moderator, right? Yeah, so Soji went first and you went last.
Yeah. So it's a little bit regret that an order has changed because the Soji will gives his presentation based on the research evidence. So
Yeah, that was supposed to be the grand finale.
yeah.
Do you understand grand finale?
No.
Well, I think Japanese use the term climax, right?
Yeah.
So Soji was supposed to be the grand finale because he had the video and the right.
Yeah.
But sometimes technical problems, you have to make an adjustment. Anything else? Any questions here? So when I wrote these statements, I wondered if I can use the first paragraph. Yes.
At first, I put my presentation. I didn't give my presentation, but it was my plan to give the presentation.
Yeah, so you could say first I was to, or I was supposed to, or I was going to give my presentation.
I was supposed to.
Yeah, but that's fine that way too. First I would give my presentation. At last Soji would demonstrate. Yeah.
So I wonder what is the best experience.
Yeah, it works well this way. Are you rewriting these again?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Rewriting is important, so you don't make the same mistakes twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's twice.
Okay.
I can remember all of them.
All right, good work. Let's discuss.
Yeah.
Wow, why am I sideways? I'm sideways. Do you see that? I'm sideways. Oh, I think it's because I turned it sideways.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, I fixed it.
Yeah.
That fixed it. Okay.
I think that Hiroshi and Soji had a very good job there. Yeah, many people are interested in get trained in the UFO, and it was a very good job.
Yeah, you worked hard on those presentations. Now, the question is, how was the Q&A afterwards? Did you get any Q&A time?
But we don't have enough time to
Okay.
because the messing problem. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. But then again,
yeah.
You said that there were many interested people coming up, and
Yeah.
how was there? I guess I'm going to hear tonight from Hiroshi.
Yes.
I get to hear how well the conversation went.
Yes. So he sent me a message to ask the schedule for the next conference. Next conference will be held in Thailand.
Where?
Thailand, Bangkok.
In Bangkok. Wow.
Bangkok.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really regret not to go there. I couldn't go there. So I'd like to go there with them.
Yeah, hopefully this time you can go.
Yeah. But I couldn't hear the voice because it's on the Zoom system, but I couldn't hear the voice on the stage. If they spoke to me in front of the personal computer, but I couldn't understand what they said, but I couldn't understand. I couldn't hear the voice on the stage, so I was very interested in it, but
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Being there is, there's nothing like being there. There's nothing like the real thing.
Yeah.
But of course, the difference between making a presentation and having a conversation, it's the same difference. You understand the difference between fine art and performing arts?
Fine art and
Okay, so if you go to a school, an art school, there are two types of art schools. There's fine art and performing arts. Fine art and performing arts. A fine art school might teach painting or sculpture or even computer graphics, right? Video creation, video production. That's all fine arts. But the actors, the filmmaker is basically a fine artist, right? But the actors are performing artists. They go to a different school. They don't learn about film and developing and camera angles and all of that kind of thing. They learn about presentation and presence and reaction and emotion and right? Dancers, singers, musicians, actors are performing artists, which is a completely different category. The fine artists can, like that old man that couldn't speak English. He's got his face in a watch all day, right? And he doesn't care about performance. He's behind the scenes getting it perfect, and then it's presented in its perfect form. Performing artists, okay, smile. You see these dancers, and they got this. They're doing these incredibly different. If you watch the Olympics, there's not a lot of smiling, right? The Olympics, it's like the runners are the look on their face. They're trying to. But the dancers are doing equally difficult things with a smile because the teacher is telling them, smile. You can imagine what's going on in their brain. Well, you can't because their smile is so nice. Oh, they look like they're having fun. It's a lot of work. The presentation is the fine art. We spend weeks and weeks getting everything perfect. The text and the figures and all the labels and everything is, and the slide deck, everything's perfect. And then you practice your English, you practice your pronunciation, you fix the grammar, everything. Okay, and the presentation is the fine art portion of the session.
Yeah.
And then comes the Q&A.
Yeah.
And that's performing art.
Yeah.
And this is where most Japanese students fail.
Yes,
Because they can't have a conversation in English. They can't do the performing arts portion of the presentation, which is the Q&A.
But I think that the part of the presentation is performing art, because if I want to say something very strongly, I might not intention with my intention. I give the presentation in a very performing.
Yeah, true. That's true. But now within performing arts, there's popular and classical, and then there's jazz. There's rote, and then there's ad lib. Do you understand? There's impromptu and prepared. So the prepared section of the performance is basically a fine art, because you can, like a prepared speech, you could practice it, you can get it down, and it's basically in the fine art category. But Q&A it's impromptu. You're reacting to the unknowns, right? And this is difficult without experience, because Japanese people lack practical fluency experience.
Yes. But sometimes when I attend conferences, even in Japan, so I feel sleepy during the presentation time, but it is very interesting to watch the Q&A session.
Yeah, in the Q&A, you wake up because, you're reacting. I think you are one of the better ones, because you can actually hold your own in the Q&A session. But so many presenters, they need the questions to be delivered prior, right? Before beforehand. The questions are delivered beforehand in many instances. Yeah. If they get the questions beforehand, then they can answer them, because they have time to prepare an answer to the questions.
So I want to ask that Hiroshi and Soji, what questions are there?
I'm going to talk to him tonight, so I'll find out more.
But I think that he made a good job.
Yeah, he likes it. And he's one of the better students. He really takes it seriously. He studies really hard. He really wants better English. Yeah, he's very motivated to improve his English. Yeah.
So as I look here, so he looks like a person who had a lot of experience of being a moderator. Yes, so I was so surprised.
Yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to hearing his experience. Yeah, I'll talk to him tonight. Now talk about moderators and stressful situations. The Secretary of Defense. Okay, so in the United States military, the top of the military is actually the president. That's a legacy situation. That happened with George Washington. He was the first official president, and he was also the general of the army, right? So, and it kind of relates to the fact that the king in England is actually the head of the military. This is something that's different with Japan. Japan, the emperor is not a military man, but in the royal family of England, the family, the king, he's the guy with the big sword, right? And they all have military uniforms. Have you ever seen the military uniforms of the royal family?
Yes.
Okay, they got swords, right? The queen, she knights people with a sword. She was an ambulance driver during World War II, and she wore an army uniform, right? And she had an instructor that was teaching her how to drive an ambulance and change a tire, right? Where, yeah, I don't know what Hirohito did. He rode a white horse for a few minutes. I don't know what he did. Anyway, so the United States, the president's the head of the military. But then he has a Secretary of Defense, and the Secretary of Defense, it was a couple weeks ago. It was before this Iran situation. Was in Singapore for an East Asian Defense Congress, right? And China was there, United States was there. Korea, South Korea was there. I don't think North Korea was there. And since America is basically remilitarizing with Trump, because 4 years of Biden, things got very relaxed and very weak. And so America's coming back in with a conservative president and a stronger military. And there's going to be a lot of hot button topics. You understand hot button topics? Hot button topics, where for example, let's say the leader of the Islamic Front, if Iran starts accusing the Secretary of Defense of being a terrorist, and things get out of control, or maybe one of the Chinese generals is accusing the United States of using Japan as a pawn in a military scheme, and right, there could be some very dangerous questions coming. So what the moderator did well beforehand was take 3 questions from the audience in the Q&A session. So he had his presentation. He talked about America's comeback and reestablishment as a world power in East Asia, and responsibilities and roles and all of that. And the importance of Taiwan's independence. That's a hot button topic, right? And the importance of Philippine independence. And then here comes the Q&A session. The moderator takes 3 questions, and then he can answer. Right? So that nothing gets out of control. The question, and then the answer. Because what typically happens, and this is what happens with Trump in the White House, Trump will say, "Any questions? Mr. President, the jet and the hostages and just basically the press hijacks the session. Either the press or some foreign military or some foreign agent or something tries to hijack the conversation. But if you take 3 questions and then here comes the answer, right? Then you take the danger out of the loop. And then the situation doesn't spin out of control. This is the first time I've seen it done this way. But it worked. It was pretty smart. Maybe Trump needs to start doing it that way, because well, what Trump will do is he'll say, "No questions from you. Your agency's fake. Your news agency's fake. No questions from you." This is the first time I've ever seen that. So many times I hear presidents and prime ministers and governors are like, they get some hot button question, and they're all stumbling, and they don't know how to answer it, and they're caught off guard. Donald Trump will just say, "No, next question." He just dismisses. And this is new to the public. We've never seen this kind of audacity from a president. And it's actually very welcoming. Finally, somebody's in charge. They're not getting pushed around by the media. The media is supposed to be representative of the public, like the public's voice. But the media has been hijacked by other concerns. Propaganda, mass media, Red China, right? Who knows what's going on? It's no longer the voice of the people. So it's nice to see somebody fight back and not be manipulated by the media. The media is not what it used to be. So, but we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have all these Twitter and X and all of this now. So it's a different environment. People do have a voice, but it's not through the television anymore. It's not through the newspaper anymore. Yeah. So next time in Bangkok, you're going.
Maybe.
When is the Bangkok conference?
2 years. I don't know exactly, but 2 or 3 years later. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah. But he asked me to ask the schedule. So
okay.
Yeah. So
I'd like to go with you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love Thailand.
Yeah.
I've been many times. I love Thailand.
Yes, I like Bangkok.
Yeah.
I've been many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the yen will be strong again.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. And so I hope that I will be able to go there without my husband.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be.
Yeah. So, but Hiroshi has already has a plan to go there. Yeah.
Great. Maybe we'll go together.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Please ask Hiroshi.
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
The rain has stopped.
Oh.
Can you see the castle?
Castle.
Can you see the castle?
I can see. Yeah. Yeah. I can see the castle. Yeah. The green is very beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
The rain stops.
Yeah.
All right, time to go play in the park with my daughter.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
Same time.
Yeah, same time.
If you have any questions, you can always send me a message.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.